Yeah, I'm back. It's been a while since I've done my last live stream. That's mainly because of time constraints, but also because I was having a little bit of a problem with Restream. I was trying to get it to connect to Instagram and TikTok, and it wasn't working. And me being me, I just lost the head one day and just said to myself, you know what, screw this. I'm not going to do this anymore. Hold on. Oh yeah, here I am. I wanted to see if I was on YouTube, but I am. I am on YouTube. I don't believe it. Yay! Uh, Let me just put this right. Okay, I am on YouTube. Yeah. So me being me, I have absolutely no patience whatsoever. And when I couldn't get Restream to work with Instagram and TikTok, I just thought, to hell with this, and I deactivated my plan. But I think it was last week, I saw Alan Broom do his accountancy dingsbombs, the accountancy podcast. And I noticed that he used Restream and it all seemed to be working fine. So I thought, yeah, give it another go. And YouTube puts so many restrictions on live streaming from YouTube. Whereas if you do it from Restream, it seems to work. So yeah, I thought I'd give it another go. And Instagram and TikTok, well, I'll figure all that out later. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody that bought the new book yesterday. It was the German translation of The Devil Incarcerated. I think the German title was Teufel im Ketten, Devil in Chains. You've got to change the title for foreign books. You know, they don't understand what Devil Incarcerated is. And just in case anybody doesn't understand the English title, and I've had quite a few people ask, um, I was thinking about the original phrase "devil incarnate." Incarnate, yeah. And I just changed the second word to incarcerated because the book's set in a prison. So, yeah, that was the thinking behind it. But when it came to working out the German title, it took quite a bit of thinking to figure out a German friendly title because, you know, they wouldn't understand what Devil Incarcerated was. You know, I don't understand the title. What do you mean, Devil Incarcerated? Christ, that sounded more Russian than German. Right. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much to everybody that bought the book yesterday. I had an extremely good sales day yesterday. Um, I'm glad it's got to the point where um, I do have successful launch days. With my other books, they have been really, really good in terms of sales, really good. But in the past, it's always taken a few weeks. Sorry, a few days, maybe a week, 10 days at the most for it to pick up momentum, and then it goes off. But for the last couple of books, I've had a really good launch day. I've noticed that it's the German books. It's obvious that my audience is here. I write the English books, and yeah, I have trouble getting a bit of momentum there. Probably because I haven't been. Well, I mean, I have been doing some advertising in Britain and in the United States, um, but for obvious reasons, it's extremely difficult to advertise in the United States. Very expensive. It's a lot of money. So, yeah, I'll get back to that when I've got some more cash in my pocket. But for the time being, I would say about 90% of my sales are Germany. And yeah, 90% of sales are from Germany. That's fine. You know, I mean, um, hang on a second. I'm getting a bloody text message here. Hold on. Do, 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 do. All right, okay. Yeah, so you know, I don't care where the money comes from. You know, money's money. If the Germans want to pay me more, then great. So yeah, the next English book is a collection of short stories. The Devil Incarcerated was the last, what I called a case file. Basically, it was short stories that I wrote to keep the readers happy while I was figuring out the next proper book. But then I got a lot of complaints that it was too short, and I thought, well, that's the definition of a short story. But they said it was too short, and I was charging too much, and blah blah blah. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to forget about the case files, and I'm just going to um, focus on the full length novels. So The Devil Incarcerated is the last case file, the last short story book. But as I just said, the next book is going to be a collection of short stories. So it's not just one like the other ones were. It's going to be a collection of 25 short stories. And some of these stories are ones that I put on my Patreon page, which I deactivated a couple of months ago because I don't have time for it. So some of them have already been on Patreon, and the others, probably about another 20-ish, 21, are ones that I'm writing now and haven't been published before. So that's called The Last Line of Defense. 25 stories. It's coming out in July, if I can get it finished in time. The next German book is Valkyrie. I hope I got this right. Valkyrie. Yeah, I know there's an umlaut in there. No doubt I'll get a German correcting me. And it's the German title of Valkyrie. And that's out in. No, when's that out? I changed the publication date. I think it's July as well. If you go to my website at markoneil.org, the publication date is on the page, on the main page. Yeah, and then I'm just kind of bringing out new German translations every couple of months, trying to bring out a new English book every 3 months. I'm trying to just keep going, because then, obviously it creates a momentum and hopefully make more money. Yeah, so apart from that, I thought I would spend a bit of time today talking about the business of writing books, because you do have to think about this as a business. Oh, so many bloody notifications. Hang on a minute. Let me shut this down. Right. You do have to think about this as a business. If you want to be taking this seriously, if you want to be earning good money, you've got to look at it from the point of view of a business person, because there is quite a lot of business related things that you have to think about. You've got to think about the taxes first of all. There's the overheads, and there can be quite a lot of overheads, but once you start making a profit, well, then those overheads don't really matter, provided that the profit is more, a lot more than the overheads. And the overheads are also tax deductible. So, the cover and the marketing and all that kind of stuff, you can come off the taxes. And I've been doing that for the last few years, and it's lowered my tax bill quite a bit. Hold on. Yeah. So, I am currently only publishing on Amazon. I would love to publish everywhere, but there is no money publishing everywhere else. Whether you like it or not, Amazon is the big dog in town. And at the end of the day, I am writing mainly to make money and pay the bills. I don't mean to sound mercenary about it, but money is my priority. So I've got to go where the readers are. I have to go where the customers are, where the exposure is. And as I said, for better or for worse, whatever your personal feelings are about Amazon, that's the place you need to go to. So because I'm with Amazon, they tend to try to do as much as possible for you. So they give you the tax questionnaires and you fill them in and all that kind of stuff, and so you don't have to worry about the taxes, because technically, I think if you're selling books in another country, you've got to pay sales taxes on those books for the tax service in that country. No, is that right? I think it is. And if you're publishing in the EU, well, then it starts to get a bit icky because then, you technically owe taxes to different tax authorities, blah, blah, blah. And this is what puts me off selling my books on my website, because then I would have to deal with all that. But because I'm selling on Amazon, Amazon takes care of all the tax side of things. So when somebody buys my book, Amazon takes the tax part off and sends it to whoever is owed it, and I get the rest minus Amazon's cut, which is 30%. Yeah, 30%. So I get 70% of the rest of the money. So overheads, and you've really got to sort of, have the spreadsheets and figure out your profits and your losses and your expenses and so on. And I have to admit to being a bit lax about this. So the last few days I've been setting up proper spreadsheets to track my spending, profits, and so on for this year. I just used Google Sheets. I stopped paying for Excel long ago because it wasn't worth it. I mean, Google Sheets is free. So yeah, obviously I've got to figure out all the expenses. So things like the book cover. The book cover is very important. I mean, the book cover can make or break the book. They say never judge a book by its cover, but I'm afraid that is extremely wrong, because people do judge a book by their cover. And if you've got a bad cover, you are basically saying, I'm an amateur, my book is crap, don't buy it. So for people to read your book and to notice your book in the first place, you've got to have a good cover. Okay? So you need to get a professional cover made, and prices vary, and at the same time quality varies. As the saying goes, you get what you pay for. You pay peanuts, you get peanuts. I'm very lucky to have an extremely talented book cover designer who charges a very affordable amount. I'm not going to go into prices because I don't know what she charges other people, and so I wouldn't want to put her in a icky position by seeing how much I make, and then other people will say, "Oh well, you charge Mark this, and you're charging me that," and so I'm not going to go into prices, but it's very affordable. Then you've got to consider your formatting software. Luckily, if you have a Mac, you can use something called Vellum. Just Google it. I'm not sure what the actual. Hang on a second. I can just look it up myself. Hang on a minute. Vellum. Yeah, here we go. It's vellum.pub, P-U-B, as in the place you drink. Vellum.pub. And as that's only for Mac at the moment, which is a shame because, it's a fantastic software, and I just wish that people with Windows could use it. So I really hope they're going to use it. They're going to make a Windows version soon. And Vellum is expensive, very expensive actually. But like everything else, the longer you publish books, the more money you make, the more Vellum pays for itself. Because again, as well as the cover, you've got to have uh, an ebook file or a print book file that looks professional. And Vellum basically takes all the effort out of it. I mean, I just copy and paste everything in, or I can import a Word file. I can type it on Google Docs, import it, sort of export it as a Word file, and then import it into Vellum, and then it's mostly all done, except for a bit of the tidying up. So actually, let me go back to the Vellum page, and I'll tell you how much it costs. I have to say I kind of hesitated a little bit when I was going to buy this, because I thought it's a lot of money, but I'm very happy that I got this. I really am, because it's really made a difference. Right, if you want to only do ebooks, then it's €190. If you want to do paperbacks, large print, and hardbacks, and so on, it's €240. Now, I get the feeling that the price has gone up since I bought it. It's possible, but you could always start with just the ebooks and then upgrade later. Um, as I said, 190 is not pocket change, but once you start making sales, then you'll get that 190 back in no time. And then after that, everything's a profit. So yeah, so you got the book cover that you need to think about. You need to get the book formatting software. If you can't use Vellum, either because of the price or because you have a Windows computer, there are other possibilities. I'm trying to think what that. Ah, yes, it's called Reedsy, reedsy.com. They have a book editor, and because it's online, because it's in a browser, um, then anybody can use it. I haven't used it myself because, as I said, I use Vellum, but I've heard a lot of good things about Reedsy, and I think Reedsy is free. Well, at least the book editor is free, so you don't have to worry about that expense. And I would say that the biggest expense for doing books is the marketing. Um, there's no way around this. If you want to do the books as a business, you obviously need to market your books. It's just like any other company. Whatever any other company is selling, they have to they have to publicize it. They have to market it. They need to get it out there, because nobody's going to know about your book or any product, unless you push it to people and put out convincing adverts and tell them how much their life will be much better if they have your product. And I'll be honest and say right off the bat that when I started this back in 2017, I was absolutely terrible at marketing. When it came to sales, marketing, I just couldn't do it. I did a couple of sales jobs when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, and I absolutely detested it. So when I realized that I would have to do my own marketing, I seriously thought about not doing the books at all, because I thought, I can't do this. I can't be a marketer. And I've tried to, wish people would stop pinging me, because then I've lost my train of thought. I thought about giving the whole marketing job to a professional. So I would just write the books and then say, right, here's the book. Sorry, I'm just plugging my charger in because the laptop's about to die. I thought, here's the book. You do the marketing. I mean, obviously it was an extra expense, but I didn't see any other way around it. But then I thought, well, you got to get out your comfort zone at some point. You have to do things that you've never done before, or things that you hate, and do them and learn. And so I did, and there was a rocky few years when I was messing everything up. I mean, I was making money, my books were selling, but I was making stupid mistakes with the marketing. And I think, looking back, um, if I had spent a bit more time uh, reading up on stuff, researching stuff, I could probably have avoided most of those mistakes. But it's just like anything in life, you just got to get started, stop worrying about, this might happen, that might happen. And yeah, eventually you get the hang of it eventually. I mean, as I said, it was 2017, so I've been doing this now for 7 years, 7 years in August. And I'd say that I'm still learning a lot about marketing. It's not exactly something that you can just pick up. It takes years of learning how things work and learning what images work and what catchphrases work and the hooks and everything else. So I'm still learning. Um, I'd like to think I'm getting a lot better now because, I'm getting a lot of regular readers and a lot of people visiting my books on Amazon. And I know that because I've got tracking set up. So for selling something on Amazon, I would say that Facebook ads is the best. Amazon ads, obviously, Amazon's going to push their own advertising platform, and some people swear by it, but the only thing it's made me do is swear. um, I have invested some money into Amazon ads to see if they would work, and basically, they've just taken my money and I've received virtually no benefit whatsoever from it. I've done a training course. In fact, I've done several training courses actually. And basically, Jeff Bezos has just taken my money, put it towards his next yacht, and I've had zilch in return. And I do find it a bit rich that they're making money off me anyway for my books, and then they want more for advertising. I mean, if I'm in an exclusive deal with Amazon where they have sole selling rights to my books, I think the least they can do is put a bit more advertising into it. They do. If you have a series, they do push the next book in the series to people when they're finished a book. But I still think they could put a bit more effort into promoting you. But anyway, that's another subject. So for promotional purposes, you really should use Facebook ads. A lot of people have said over the years that Facebook ads is declining, that it's not as good as it used to be. That when Apple introduced the enhanced privacy protections on their iPhones and iPads and so on, that um, that basically Facebook ads was screwed. But Facebook has pivoted and they have tried to get around this problem by more or less just letting its algorithm off the leash. And just the Facebook algorithm has got a hell of a lot better over the last couple of years. I know a lot of people who still swear by specifying an audience in Facebook ads. You can, in the past, you had to, and a lot of people, as I say, still do it today, where you specify, I want to target people in this country with these between these ages, and this is the language of the people that I want to target. And then you could get much more granular and say, I want to target students, or I want to target divorced people, or people with kids, or people that work in this industry or that industry, and so on. And that's what I did up until last year. And then I heard something about the fact that Facebook ads basically wanted you to drop the audience targeting. And in the past, I would imagine that in the past, Facebook advertising basically, if you had taken the audience controls off, they would have just sent it to anybody, taken your money, sent it to everybody, and you would have got very little back. But in the last couple of years, um, it would seem that their algorithm has got a hell of a lot better. And after the Apple privacy thing, I think what they're doing now is that instead of relying on third party information from people's phones and so on, they're now uh, they're now heavily relying on their own data, which obviously makes sense. I mean, Facebook knows more about you than anybody else. They're everywhere, and they, as I say, they built up profiles about everybody. So I would have thought that would have made sense to do that from the beginning. So they're kind of looking at people's Facebook profiles. They're looking at where they are and what they're interested in, what they've hit the like button on, what links they've clicked, and so on. And then they've built up a profile of each person. So now with Facebook ads, you just specify the gender of the person, the age bracket of the person, and what's the other one? Gender, age, yes, the country. Because obviously you don't want it just going all around the world, or you could if you want to, but um, for example, my German books, there's no point promoting my German books in Britain or the United States because although there are German people there, obviously, compared to the number of English people there, I wouldn't get much results. So, obviously, for promoting my German books, I would specify promote it in Germany, maybe Austria, maybe Switzerland, but mainly Germany. And that's all you need to do. You just have to specify gender, age, country. You could specify language as well. And so I suppose it would make sense to say only show it to people who speak German. But I've just kind of done all languages because there's people like me, for example, and my mother tongue is English, but you know I also understand German, so saying German only is going to exclude some people. So Facebook ads is still the most effective way of advertising. Uh, Basically, Facebook just lets its algorithm off the leash and it looks at the text in your advert, it looks at the image in your advert. Even if you put text on top of the image, it even reads the text on the image. And then once it's got a complete picture of what the advert is about, and it analyzes the link that you're sending people to, then it starts to think, okay, who is interested in this based on people's Facebook activity, what they've said on their profile that they what have they hit the like button on, what have they commented on, what links have they clicked on, and then they kind of say, right, okay, well, this segment over here, people have indicated that they like books and they like these types of books, and so we're going to send the advert to them. Um, so basically, the school of thought is that by specifying an audience, you're kind of throttling the Facebook algorithm because you're specifying that only a certain type of people can see it. And so Facebook might be like, oh well, this guy over here might like it, and then but your audience controls are like, well, no, don't show it to him, show it to the people that I tell you. And this is where you could be unintentionally throwing away customers because as I said, Facebook knows more about people than the people do. So if the algorithm determines that a certain person would like the book based on, say they hit the like button on a spy thriller, for example, or they left a comment, or they visited a page of a spy thriller author, and so on, then these are obviously the types of people that I want to target. So, yeah, Facebook ads are definitely what you need to use to market your product, in this case, a book. So you've got your book cover, you've got your formatting software, you've got your marketing budget, because, being an indie author means that you don't have the high powered marketing department of a publishing company behind you. You are the publisher. You're not only the writer, you're the publisher. And the publisher, the distributor, I mean, you've got all the hats on. You have to do it yourself. And I know people who hire assistants to do a lot of the grunt work, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with hiring somebody. But I think for the time being, until you start making some serious money, you need to do it yourself. So, yeah, you've got to think in terms of a business. If you think of it in terms of a hobby, it will always be a hobby, and you'll earn hobby money. You want serious money, look upon it as a business and just treat it as you would any other business that you might set up, online or offline. You've got to think about the taxes. You've got to think about having money for expenses every month. Um, you've got to have your marketing in place and so on and so forth. That's really the only things that you need to run it as a business. But you've also got to look at your expenses and your profits, because you got to decide, is it worth it? The amount that I'm paying in expenses, the amount that I'm paying in the profits that I'm getting at the end, is it worth it? There were times when I was only making, say, €100 in profit. I was making a lot of sales, but the Facebook ads were chewing up a lot of those sales money. And so I had to ask myself, well, is this really worth all the effort? But, things don't happen overnight, obviously. And being a stubborn bastard that I am, I told myself I wasn't going to give up on this. And you do have to look at the bigger picture and play the long game. So, yeah, you've got to kind of look. This is why it's good to have a spreadsheet, because then you can see how much you're spending versus how much you're making. And, I'm happy to say that my profit margin is going up a lot compared to the early days. And a lot of that is due to the fact that I am in Kindle Unlimited, which is a subscription service for Kindle owners. They pay a certain monthly amount to Amazon. Amazon uses a bulk of that money, however much it is, to pay the authors. And the authors get paid per page read. So when the Kindle detects that the page has been turned, I get paid for the page. And it's just like Spotify, it's like a tiny fraction of a penny. But obviously, the more pages people read, the more that money stacks up. And you can make some really good money from Kindle Unlimited. Um, and then at the end of every month, they give bonuses to the people who have made good money. I mean, last month I got over €200 bonus. So, it can make all the difference, Kindle Unlimited. And so, because of Kindle Unlimited, my profits have gone right up compared to previous years. Um, Yeah. So yeah, you've kind of got to keep an eye on the expenses column and the profit column, but don't be so quick to pull the plug. You've got to take this long term. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not something where you can just throw up a book and then expect the money to come rolling in. It won't come rolling in at first. You've got to establish yourself, and things like this. What I'm doing right now, live streams, promotional videos, you know, um, adverts, for example. Like I use Canva, for example, to make advertising literature. This is all stuff that you've got to do, and you've got to get yourself out there. The times of being this mysterious, secluded author that hides away with a typewriter and the person never sees you, and they think, oh, who is this person? That's long gone. Okay, whether you like it or not, it's gone. You've got to market yourself. And even if you went to a traditional publisher, they tend to look at how popular you are already. So even if you went to a traditional publisher, they're going to say, well, what's your social media following? How many Instagram followers do you got? How many Facebook followers have you got? So you've still got to set all this stuff up, and you've still got to put yourself out there, because from what I hear, traditional publishers don't really do a whole lot. I mean, obviously they want to recoup their money, so they will do some marketing. But from what I've heard, a lot of publishers will just rely on you to get your own word out. So, it's not just writing the book and then that's it done. You've got to do the marketing as well, and you've got to do the appearances. Um, if you're an indie author, the chances of getting on TV are slim to none. You need to have the contacts to get on the TV, and indie authors just don't have those contacts, and I doubt very much if TV would be interested unless you were a big name author like Stephen King, John Grisham, Daniel Silva, Dean Koontz, whatever. So you've kind of got to get yourself out of the idea of TV appearances, and bring yourself back to earth, and tell yourself, it has to be live streams, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and handing out free copies. I mean, I've got a box here with lots and lots of author copies, which you can buy from Amazon for the wholesale price. And you just got to get the books out there, and you just got to wait, and you got to hope that one day one advert is going to resonate with people, one book is going to resonate with people, and they're just going to keep reading. And I noticed that last week I gave away my first book for free. For a period of 5 days. I just let the book out for free. And obviously the theory is that if you give the book away for free, people will read it and they'll be like, oh, this is not bad after all, and then they'll buy the next book in the series. And that's what they're doing. When I look at the sales reports, people are moving to the next book and then the next book. So it's just like in a supermarket when they put stuff at the front of the store really cheaply. It's to get you in there. It's a loss leader. It's to get you in so that you buy more stuff. And that's how you should look upon that. You might think to yourself, well, I'm losing money on the first book. I'm not making anything. But that's not the point. You've got to get people in. You've got to get people into the series, addicted to the series, and then they'll move on and on and on. And they'll just buy your series, and then you'll get the money that way. And you'll make fans, regular readers, people who are going to contact you and say, when's the next one coming out? But obviously that only works if you have quite a few books in your series. You only got 2 or 3, then you're not going to get a lot of momentum. But if you've got, like I have, I think it's now 17 English books, and how many are the German ones? I think it is 10, 11. No, it's probably more than that. I think it's about 13. So out of those 17 books, 13 of them are German translations. So if I can get somebody on the first book, well, hopefully they'll keep going. And I've noticed that this is happening with a lot of people now. It wasn't at first, but now they are. And that's where the real money is. When you can get somebody hooked on your series and they can't stop reading, and they just like, the next one's a bit pricey, but I need to know what happens, and then they just buy it. So yeah, and start series, definitely. Standalone novels don't really do so well, but series where you can get the reader to binge read, the Netflix effect, get people to just binge read all of them, that's where the money is. Okay? So, yeah. If you want any help with your self-publishing, let me know. Obviously, I can't do it for free, so I'll figure out a fair consulting fee. But I would be very happy for a price to help you with your books. I can hold your hand from the start, and well, not literally hold your hand, obviously, that's a bit weird and a bit difficult through the computer, but I can help you from start to finish. based on my own experiences, and I'll make sure you don't make the same mistakes that I make. And I've made a few, as I said. So, yeah, there's a shameless plug for my consulting service. And as you can see on the screen, there's the QR code for the books. If you cannot scan this QR code for any reason, go to markoneil.org and the books are on the page. Or, I forgot about this, I started this recently. Go to, what is it? d89.eu. d89.eu, and when you get there, click on your Amazon store and you'll get taken to the books as well. Right. Okay. Well, I will, now that I've got Restream more or less working, then I will try to do more regular live streams. Yeah. So if you've got any questions, any subjects that you want me to tackle, get in touch. Just go through my website, markoneil.org. There's a contact form there. Send me your questions, ideas for the future live streams, and I'll do it. Okay, because I'm like that. I'm like that. I'll just keep talking. So, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to read my books.